This is the second in a series of calculating the average of a few numbers. And in it, we're going to learn two kind of important things. We're going to learn about lists, vectors, arrays, that kind of thing. And then we're going to learn about loops. So lists and loops are sort of this is the beginning introduction to those two topics in Python. All right. So we're going to start like we always do. We go to the search bar, type CMD, we get the command prompt, we double click on that. Then I open up, I have to get into the right directory, so I cd space OneDrive, cd space desktop, then cd space Python code. I want to make a new project, so I just do make project space avg2. So this is the second of these programs about the average, and it'll get me into the average2 program. Then I go to File Manager, I open that up, I get to this file, average2 file in Python code, which is in the desktop, and then I can just double click on average2.py and it'll come up in Notepad++. That's the normal procedure from now on for all these Python scripts that we're going to write. Okay, good. All right, so instead of having three variables, A, B, C, that's not scalable. That we're never going to be able to take the average of hundreds or thousands of numbers, because we're going to have hundreds of thousands of alphabetic letters, A, B, B, C, C. We're going to have to come up with a huge number of variables. That's just untenable. So let's make one variable with all the data in it and just have the index of the variable scroll through. So if we have a variable A, and has three elements to it. A is 3, 5, and 8, separated by commas, all in these square brackets. That's how you define an array in Python. They're called lists, and so lists can be of numbers, or it can be of words, it can be of all sorts of things, and there are all sorts of different kinds of lists and structures. Dictionaries, tuples, there's zillions of different things, and so we're going to learn as we go to the intermediate type of Python scripting and programming. We'll learn more and more about all the different ways that you can structure data structures. It's a powerful aspect of Python. I'm just going to use the simplest components of that for these early videos. Okay. All right. So we have now a variable A. It has three elements to it. As a side note, we're not going to use it in these examples, but as a side note, it uses an index system like C, if you're familiar with C. That is, A bracket 0 is the first element of A. That's the 3.0 is stored in A bracket 0. And A bracket 1 stores 5, and so on. So it uses 0, it counts from 0 to n-1 for arrays and lists. All right, I'm going to create another variable called sum. Then I have what's called a for loop, for I in range 3. That means go through the 3 elements of the A array, is what that means. If you want more details on what a for loop does, it's in other languages. I'm not going to go too much into loops and other types of control structures in Python. They exist, and we will use them, and I'll bring them up, but they're not used nearly as much as they are in lower level traditional programming languages like C, right? And so if you're interested in the nuts and bolts of how a for loop really works, you can go into my C lectures and watch those videos about taking the average in C. Just rest assured that a for loop goes through, it loops through the number of times that you tell it to. So in this case, range of 3 means 3 times. And then sum equals sum plus a sub I. So the I is going to have values of 0, 1, and 2 in this for loop. Then, and the for loop, what's indented gets done that number of times. So that you have to use indentation here to sort of tell the for loop what I want to have done inside that loop. And then after that, it's not indented anymore. I'm just going to take the average. The average is just equal to the sum divided by 3. So sum starts at 0, then the first time through the loop you add 3 to it, so sum has a value of 3. The second time through the loop you add 5 to it, so it has a value of 8. And the third time through the loop you add 8 is the old value plus the new plus a sub 2, which is 8, and so that's going to be 16. So that's how sum works. The way almost all programming languages work is on the left-hand side of the equal sign is the new value, on the right hand of the equal sign is the old value. So the new value of sum is equal to the old value of sum plus something. That's how that works, right? You can have sum equals sum plus something. That's a very common feature of many programming languages. And then we just print out the average at the end here, same way that we did before. Good. All right, so that's the program. We save it, Control S to save it, to get rid of the little asterisk in the top left corner. Then I go back into the command prompt, and then I type python3 space avg2.py. And lo and behold, it gives the average is 5.333, still the same average number. So it does the same thing as average1.py does, only now it looks more scalable. We have a looping structure, so it doesn't matter how many points really, kind of, that A would have, that you could have in this thing. It would always do the same thing. It's sum equals sum divided by 3, so there's a problem there, and range 3, so it has a specific number listed. I have to change that every time. So that's not quite scalable. The whole goal is to come up with a scalable algorithm that can be used to calculate the average of lots and lots of numbers, right? Okay, so this is this second step in it, and we have a couple more steps before we come to what is possibly the easiest way to calculate the average in many programming languages as I know of.